Maneva na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there o say dem yopo.
Osei-Mensah kwakumozu. Me bacho we NDC documenta. Woman the bar. A year I'm the co-elections. And this I talking about infrastructure. Ivan.
Yes, you see, now me kind of baby say when MPP is in power, they cause distraction, they destroy. When they are in opposition, they morph into saboteurs. So when they are in power, they destroy. When they come into opposition, they turn themselves into saboteurs. They always be on message now. You see, Abra Akufo-Addo power no. Adia bakwana Ghana for years so much worried about a abandoned project because Mahama started project Okumasia and then the bottom sika no the starting yeah. A Ghana for sika. So as a government, you know, our government say governance a continuum no. You cannot abandon such a project because and now allow such a monumental project to rot. Yebi eko esagleme. We did the same thing. And a Ghana for Gina so kahubi aba. So you expect the president now abano who abandoned project I also was started. No way. Because he's not ruling this particular country on his own terms. Oh.
Exactly.
He's ruling on the terms Ghana for no war. Because Ghana for them overwhelming mandate man. And for me, sa agenda 111 year, go and look at the expenditure. Sikano, there was no money. Kakana one almost spread it on what started near Manina. Bakukran no mutimi duru baby. And the kind of hospital. Sometimes people are funny. They think that building is when a hospital. No. What's here diner we know stocking it is a new level. That's 10. Because hospital is not about a building. You need to stock it with the state of the and the money hospital. Now what to foundation now we see as a hospital by a dean hospital, but it's not hospital. But the government has accepted the challenge. Say meye amana ye because you see hospital now Ghana for the benefit and no be on them Ghana politics ma wo majority leader crowd went to me in the your people felt that we are incompetent. Am I a pamo we are kete Akufo-Addo na pamo no because they felt say when you need there but we not competent enough to lead the party. Ya pamo na bra no ready. He wanted to even resign from the party. Am I man for credit? Such a person today has the moral audacity to be engaging media and be talking about say abino nearma or ye bia or more nearma no more nearma bang. With you MPP lay any for solid foundation and can hold him go say no moji. It got to a time there was nothing sensible to speak to as a government. Everything abina I remain relevant. To the point to say the Ashanti regional minister on radio a challenge radio host man Akwanya say onke kan ade ayaye no Ashanti region. He could not mention a thing. What has here?
Simon Osei-Mensah.
Yes. And even the national chap, one of the executive, Captain Smart to show. So the same thing. They could not mention a single monumental project. Why on one casa in Florida.
In 8 years,
8 good years. Such shameless characters and then or Matthias Bonte in the name of politics because for cheap. And because when you go sit behind some of the microphone, some of the journalists are also such that they can't even ask any sensible questions. And then they just allow you to say anything. All cast answer no and I will be sense papa Pakistan na free ban na free China na eba because anka wo kroma in the last 8 years as ansem we are okay there na nka mo akwanya sanka betimi aye ni ye but abana waba for 1 year no you don't expect government overnight and everything will turn boom considering the economy that you left behind. So that is why I make us say emma yabomubu as a young person because so to anywhere in the past. Now here's a uncle for when na who free say omoye politician who see bibia free omo ho na ene omo kasa the poverty of wit and intellect that they live in their work near shocking. Then you begin to turn around and say, nah, it is better I listen to a young person than to listen to some of these old cargoes because omono it is about them. Because some now kind of a pure partisan politics seeking to gather certain relevance for a party that has degenerated into the gutters. And MPP need credibility. Be Ashanti regional free banner. Corona could be young people out there whether they trust the MPP. Let me say, dear no more. These are things you should be able to speak about. Because baby, John Mahama Jina in the SCCA, people are looking at the economic statistics and the indicators. So you adapt to your GDP. For the first time in so many years, I drop it to 45%. I buy no crown. The projection as for net nam ho baby dollar. One of the Fitch, I catch and say, you bet end 2025. I was 15.5. air connect 10.5. So these are things that defy all the projections. Yankasa over last year budget na
yes.
We may be a project inflation. Inflation may be a project too, you try. Yankasa a projection we defy it. Besides DNS, something is happening. And to your opposition, when you look at all these things, you have no other option than to commend the government and expect more. Say, why you but you can do more. That is a challenge than seeking to trivialize the whole thing as if we are the Papa B. We can do the statistics, we can do comparative analysis, and we can look at the figures, what Ghanaians were going through to the extent that inflation at some point in time was around 54. In the history of this country, when was the last time we say inflation? Bank of Ghana na juma aye monetary policy. Ya run a Bank of Ghana boka. Because kwabraneti ho or that's around pa. Not the Bank of Ghana prentisika. Ya ni buy so in a year omo boka over 60 billion. Obia ka ho asem. This same jokers did a press conference because say Sami Jamfia cotton gold boka. What the Bank of Ghana? Bank of Ghana omo ton to say omo ton seminar. Bank of Ghana enibia. But Bank of Ghana recorded 60 billion unprecedented in the history of this country. You can't lost. You lost. And then you go to other sector. Other senseless interventions. You do my sika ko shame. Now what can about your friends a cathedral?
Yes.
Osei-Mensah tikruma and na kufu ado kwada so ne there so the my sika basic cathedral. Obi antime nhwe na niman Kenyan sasama nkyere ma ne di nsem hunu ko bu judges for dying to go ye. And na me no ka say Ghana the cast $97 million. And I saw such a shameless character today had the audacity to be doing what? Politics in I am for, and you see, in such a way say watch a wobudia you can say anything and get your own because Ghana your baby you put to prominence on and some of the panel can nyansa a woman because some of these people will just fade into obscurity because obi akra and so because abrano nyasa mobio mabobi in the last 8 years the track record is just there obi ahu ahochira Ghana for kom it got to a point oko airport a hocha makola because every single young person in this country was living through the next available flight or kwa bruchire because economy ni niam mfa enne menka se niam ye yesa but gradually no there is confidence that is returning. And then investors can bring their money back and invest into the country. And then the rating agencies now, omu rating a junk, and omu nyina rewrite their book. Say, are you aware that Ghana can go out there and borrow? But we are not borrowing. Yeah. Ghana can go there and out and borrow, but we are not borrowing. You understand? Actually, said the government has been very disciplined. What beside home baby John Mahama Konya Sika? Domestic debt exchange program for what you amoka 2 times. What beside home no? What beside home baby Onya Sika? Sika na. Yakobo bosia e domestic way na enam so mo ban ye euro bond no what 2 times what be some be onya sika no energy sector na ka me ne no na no what be some be okonya sika no but over the years I didn't na ye ntia e sure say the gentleman is doing something or try to reverse the economy no say once again Ghana will become a beacon of hope to a month for a sub-region because over the years from independence to end, Ghana has always been a shining star example a month for her because independence in 57 in a period of 10 years, near to inspire over 30 African countries to get independence, all because of Ghana. And to mention what Debbie, so we have Ghana flag now. Sakala nana winning adoptee. So the Ghana, exactly, because they could not take it just like it is. Yes. So Ghana flag, and I'm inspiration what we did into I'm picking a colors, into we are no attend, we are no any say where I any say. Yes, you can count. Just say we've always led the way for others to learn from us, to follow us. Na bedru ba bi no o minor be a humiliation on the global stage. Obo Ghana I because we could not even borrow. Government can cook the books, write you have fake figures not their core international way so kwa jibosia. Okwa na expose you. These are the realities that you go through, and during this time no these people were here. They were part of the establishment and disansem hunu no. I know the day and nam say no munye bibi different because they were enjoying Nobody was bold enough to stand in front of Akufo-Addo that kind of crying chance at Chale. This is not what we promised the people of this country. We need to do things and do things right. Sebeya, you bet me leave a legacy. You bet me boy. Even a opposition crowd party na bano. Look at the state MPP women there. The party itself na kamakacha say the brand na nkasa no. atete apansam a party na ankasa no is a problem. What be sounds as I nim the nyansa no mo de tinchen no adento mo fan rebuild the party no na no mo koto abai. Look at people mo popping up to mo president dedi on the ticket of the MPP wo be sounds the entia because that is the state a party na ba be dru ende enti omo ade bia na they need to draw back. Look at these basic things na omo fix it. Or fix that credibility problem now, then you begin to engage Ghana for 7 years, Ghana for better watum, until so do that level of acceptability at Ghana for who say, okay, baby, I'm about to do you have that moral clearance to criticize Obino. Until so do that page, you know, idea be regarded as noise. Is the reason why people don't take them serious anymore. And unfortunately, they are not amenable to reasoning. They are not amenable to wisdom. They become very hostile to it. Now look at the characters leading the party. Now no, Professor Babon Tobaka Nasemi, now no and see, now the whole general secretary to Radio Suki Kansem who gaga. Professor Adibia can't same way. As a badrima, you subject to critical scrutiny as identity and all kinds of same way. As some no cano, take it time, not dinner home, not reflect it, not look at what is going on in the party before you react. But I know and see na on radio na bronya nam hana we nama and sa. So how do you build such a party? And today these people have the audacity out there telling Ghana for say they see buo mai. Munim say they see buo mai and the last 8 years in the FA me I believe in multi-party democracy. And say NDC require strong baby. Now say MPP ye weaker. I know the day on my na fa. Because for democracy to thrive properly, no. You need to build these institutions, make them very competent enough. Sebaya, Obia betimia standing abine toe to toe because lie in the constructive criticism and the dialogue na yebaya within your development a lie. Because a woman will be chance to lead without any opposition. I know the day, they will take things for granted. So we need the MPP to be responsible. But unfortunately, they don't even want to be responsible. And I think, these are the basic things. And some now all kind of, he's just espousing their nature, advertising who they are and what they represent. A buying project, and examples with that we can cite. But then John Mahama say that narrative is a sick narrative. He want to deviate from that narrative. A buying project is a buying project. A Ghana for no matter what, when never started yet. As long as it's going to serve the interests of the people, I will make sure we complete it. It's the reason why he has directed all the ministries. Any uncompleted project, make sure you finish it. And now there is another directive. Yes, sir. Schools now also see your mujan. Yes, sir. Conference saying blocks. Yes. Ongoing construction or make sure that the mujanu mura numina or met me at so free SHS no more buy no. I know the day there was a challenge ya chokia and cry any baby not school dance kuram now be sounds and assembly in the womb and no bien what me to a buying for say a danya can me I didn't young complete and young fan crankum rather than say yeah running gold, green, red and whatever. Oh chroma say. So for me I think they have no moral audacity. Or monosatity class politics na a chance we opposition that criticize you know that's exactly what they are doing and they are not even doing it anyway. But one thing that the beyond person be catch am for tell and say politics answer a bit me criticize you know make sure say when I ejina ye because when I ejina ye now you lack credibility oba Kenyans Ghana for not take it serious. It's the reason why Fenyo can be a press conference now be comment na say no atema man for dinu na press conference no ye no because nipa nim say won Kenyans asem abraba boy is quite obvious. They say me no ka ECG wo tokura muja no hokra na nyantu anwie Ghana for expect say enka ene you've been prosecuted. And today you have the audacity to stand on your feet and be saying what? So for me, I think we are on course, looking at how things are going, making sure that are buying on and deviate. Not the Ghana for penal on your mom. Not development. Man for that is what Ghanaians are looking out for. Because young people don't want pity. They don't want to say, oh, no. Make sure job available or apply obenya ko yenu na omutu kwan kwa America no obi enu all the protocol na ko duru ha once onsa adwen be ya adwuma no obenya adwuma anya sika sa na ese Ghana ye you don't need to know anybody before you have access to job. And that is the kind of way the ultimate Ghanaian dreamer me free say yenya ebetimi aboaye. And that is what the government is working towards.
Yanko yanim 90.5 FM suni Ivan Kyei-Innocent a social commentator, youth activist. Then ka ena what is siana ye kono Famiko GBC na menti story we say fi hotel. Famiko Ghana.
I'll be well.
Alhamdulillah, I'm terrific.
Mm.
A greetings to our listeners too.
Well, first, let me start because they are clearly saying that it's not that you don't have the money. In fact, the Rose Minister has been mentioning billions for Rose. So you can find money. But it looks like you're not interested in doing the Suame interchange in a manner in which it was originally intended. Are you intentionally either defunding or reducing the scope of work for Suame interchange? Exactly what is the plan?
You know, the New Patriotic Party members can sometimes be very, very shameless. And I recall an analogy that our party chairman, General Mosquito, used some time ago to describe them, that they behave like the bird that muddies the water downstream and jumps onto the bank and starts screaming that the water is muddy. You get the chunk of your support and loyalty from Kumasi. You had power for 8 good years, and the gridlock in and around the Swami area existed long before you got power. And for 8 years, you did nothing about it. Nothing. In the 8th year, you start this project and promise the people of Kumasi and the Ashanti region that you were going to finish it by the end of the year. That too, you failed. And you just didn't fail to complete the project. Your incompetent management of the economy led to a situation where those who were willing to lend you money to do the project withdrew their support. And then within a year, you are not ashamed to state that Kumasi deserves better. Really, indeed, Kumasi deserves better. Why should Kumasi deserve better only when you are in opposition? So if I were in their shoes, I'll be hiding. The fact of the matter is, when we took over as a government, there was no funding for the project because the lenders, as a result of the debt exchange program, had stopped funding the project. And the project had not even gone beyond 10% of work done. Physical work on the ground, not more than 10%.
Not more than 10%.
Not more than 10%.
Of work was what you inherited.
Exactly.
I see.
But President Mahama, being the nation builder that he is, and the fixer that he is, decided not to pass the buck and decided not to abandon the project, because that project is not just for the people of Ashanti-Man. It's for the people of Ghana. It's a critical road project. Indeed, it is a focal traffic distribution point linking the north to the south. And so it's a critical project for the country. And President Mahama sees it so. And so he decided that it needed to be done. Now, when we did the assessment, so now we realized that going by the design, the original design, it was going to affect some about 2-story buildings on the way and a mall, a very popular mall around the area. And the compensation that was required to pay to these property owners was over 100 million Ghana cedi. And that over 100 million Ghana cedis for compensation was not part of the original project cost. And so the government was now going to have to find an additional over 100 million Ghana cedis to compensate these property owners before we could carry out the original design.
You need
Even if we were able to get the money, and President Mahama committed to get the money to complete it without depending on the original lenders who had pooled their funds.
so aside looking for money to pay for the project itself, you now need to find an extra 100 million for compensation.
Over 100 million for compensation, which was not part of the original cost.
I see.
Yes. So we thought that the purpose of doing that project was not only for beautification. It was to solve a problem. And was that the only way to solve the problem? No, it wasn't. A fourth tier was not the only way to solve the problem. Indeed, we identified that the problem was going to even be better solved. And the beauty of the area and the whole of Ashantiman was going to be better served and improved if we got this 100 million or more and use it to do the outer roads around the Suame area, which will then ease the traffic and feed it onto a trade tier without having to disrupt the properties that the fourth tier design was going to impact. And so what wrong has President Mahama and the government committed by seeking to improve the utility of the project? Because let's not lose sight of the fact that the project was to ease traffic. And so if you do a trade here and do the outer roads that we have identified, which they will agree are equally critical, what wrong have we done? How, have we served Kumasi less than they did? That's why I'm saying that sometimes their shamelessness can be very, very admirable.
Would the
Because
new
if I were in their shoes, I'll speak very little of that project. Because it stands as a testament of their neglect of their stronghold. For 8 good years, they could not do this project. 8 years. They could not do the project. And even when they started, they failed to go beyond 10% before they handed over. Because President Mahama is committed to doing this project, that is why he has added it to the Big Push program in his first year and is funding it. He's not waiting till his last year or election year to go and engage in gimmicks like they did. And I'm sure the people of Ashanti region know better. They know the government that is committed to executing this project because they can tell that if the NPP was as committed and had started it in their first year, or at least even in the first year of their second term, we would not be discussing this today. And so they should just keep quiet and sit somewhere.
The new project design that you've put in place, so now it's 2-tier. And then you have also
It's
decided...
actually 3-tier.
Oh, okay. It's not 2 tiers because they said it's 2.
It's actually 3-tier because you have the ground, then you have the first tier and the second tier.
Okay. Would it put together with the Kumasi Outer Ring Road, would it solve the problem?
Absolutely. That is the reason why we are saying that then there's no need doing a fourth year, that will cost you 100 million Ghana cedis more just to be used for compensation. Because if you don't do the fourth year, you will not have to pull down the story buildings and the mall.
I see. So for you, it was much more cost effective and far better use of our money than to go ahead and do the 4 years.
Absolutely. It was to solve the traffic situation, improve the traffic flow in and around the Swami area, distribute traffic better, maintain the scenery of the area to the best of our ability, and still, manage the cost within our control. Remember that they destroyed the economy before they left. And if President Mahama was not committed to completing this project, he would have simply used the excuse of the battered economy they left behind to abandon the project. And no one, I believe, would have faulted him, because the facts are clear that when President Mahama took over, the economy was in tatters. And it is the reason why the original lenders of the project pulled out. And so President Mahama could have simply said that, well, you destroyed the economy. We cannot even borrow to do the project. And so let's wait until the economy is back on its feet so that we can consider the project. But President Mahama sees a problem that you were engaged in political gimmicks without commitment to resolve. And he has decided that it has to be resolved. Whether our economy is in a good shape or not, it has to be resolved. And it has to be resolved within budget and within time.
I see.
What we are doing.
How much progress has been made since the MDC came to power on the project?
I think the last report put it at about 15%. They have been doing some relocation of, utilities. Even that, they have done it a number of times because of these, challenges in the area. But we are very confident that by the end of next week, the final design would have been out, and I'm sure that the contractor will move faster than he's currently moving.
I see. I wanted an update on the big push projects anyway. If you don't mind, where are you now with most of them? Is work progressing?
Steadily. Many of them are progressing steadily. Some are at 40%, some are at 30%, some are at 10%. They are all at different levels of completion. Only not a couple of weeks. Last week, we invited all the contractors that are on various projects to the ministry to give us a progress report. And it is based on that report that I can say that all the projects are at various levels of completion. We, in the coming weeks, will hit the road to tour and inspect these projects, because we want to match what was presented to us in the boardroom with what is actually happening on the ground.
Okay. Because there are many people who raise that same concern, that one of the biggest issues with our roads is not that the construction does not happen. It's just that there's so poor supervision to the extent that the roads that are usually delivered at the end do not stand the test of time. Are you changing that?
I didn't hear that, sorry.
I'm wondering what's your new approach to ensuring that the best quality of work is delivered, because the constant complaints about work being delivered 2 years after, I start seeing potholes on the road, money has already been paid, the work is supposed to have been done, yet the finishing, the road does not even stand the test of time.
I think one of the blessings that we appreciate at the ministry is the level of experience of the minister that we have, who is leading all of us. He is somebody who understands these, quality assurance issues, and he's, if you like, an engineer himself. And so, and I served on the committee for the last 8 years. So he is very, very concerned about quality of projects. And the contractors, if you engage them, I assure you, will testify that one of the ways to impress him in any presentation is to highlight the quality of the work that you are doing. And he has an eye for that. And so I can assure you that quality will not be compromised at all. And it is the reason why we are monitoring the projects, regularly. Apart from the reports of the contractors, we will be on the field, like I said, in the coming days to inspect for ourselves if indeed the expectations that we have are actually met. We also have engineers from the various agencies, feeder roads, urban roads, and highways, who are regularly monitoring these contractors and even, giving approval of their materials before they are allowed to use those materials. I'll give you an example. Only a couple of months ago, a road that we inherited failed because of, poor materials used on site. Minister Kwame Agbodza got the engineers to investigate the reasons for the failure of that road. And the contractor was summoned, and the report presented to the contractor. Fortunately, the contractor, accepted liability and offered to fix the section of the road that has failed at his own cost. And as we speak, the contractor is back to site, mobilizing to fix those sections of the road that have failed. And it's because I'm not mentioning the name of the contractor and the name of the road, because of the magnanimity of the contractor to own up to the failure and the determination to repair the damage that has been done.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm grateful.
Alasan Suhuyini is Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, joining us on the line, taking us to 45 minutes past 9 here in the studios of Radio Gold 90.5 FM.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.